I wanted to make a quick little video today because I've been seeing a lot of people, I've been seeing more people using balance trainers and also using prong collars, at least where I live. So I really wanted just to make a video to remind people why we don't do that and why no qualified professional in the animal industry would ever recommend doing that with their dog. So I want to remind people that there are no studies that have been done that show that prong collars, choke chains, or any type of aversive is beneficial for a dog's obedience or well-being. In fact, they show the opposite. Every study that has been done on different types of dog training, particularly in comparing aversives to positive reinforcement training, the results have all shown that dogs that experience aversive methods have higher amounts of anxiety and behavioral problems. And because a lot of people use these methods with dogs with behavioral problems to begin with, these tools that they use from the trainers actually increase the anxiety level and the bad behavior that you're seeing and that you want to get rid of. I want to give some examples of what I'm talking about, and I'd like to go into even more studies in the future to help people really see that aversives are very detrimental to a dog's well-being. The first study is published by Rachel A. Casey, who has a PhD in animal behavior. She's a veterinary surgeon, a clinical animal behaviorist, and a welfare scientist. Now, reading from her own blog, she's recognized as a veterinary specialist in veterinary behavioral medicine by the Royal College of Veterinary Surgeons and the European Board of Veterinary Specialists, and as a specialist in animal welfare, ethics, and law by the European College. So she knows her stuff. In 2021, she published a study showing the comparison of pessimism in dogs with positive reinforcement dog training and aversive dog training, ideally analyzing the different moods of dogs in different methods of training. In her study, dogs in the aversive training group were slower to get to their location that they needed to go to than positive reinforcement dogs, showing more of a reluctance to trust their handler in getting to where they need to be. Because of this, she concludes that those types of training methods have a negative effect on a dog's mood, therefore affecting the welfare of the dog in general. There was another study in 2020 conducted by Catarina Vieira de Castro. Anna is a researcher and a biologist, and it's very important to study biology when working with animals so that you know how their body works, because that affects their well-being as well. Like knowing that there's glands and arteries around a dog's neck that can be injured if you use a prong collar. A lot of aversive dog trainers don't know that, don't believe it, whatever you want to call it. Anna also has a PhD in experimental psychology. So, not a small feat. So in Anna's study, she compared 3 groups: aversives, balanced, and positive reinforcement. The dogs in the aversive group were seen as turning their body away, moving away, or crouching their body, which are all signs of pretty intense fear. They also whined a significant amount more than the mixed group and the positive reinforcement group. And they also showed a lot more yawning. All things that are associated with fear, discomfort, stress. The mixed group, the balanced training group also experienced a lot of body turning away, moving away, and crouching. Not quite as much as the aversive group, but almost as much. And the positive reinforcement group experienced significantly less stress. The aversive method group experienced a significant amount of tension and stress and panting during the training sessions, whereas the mixed group still experienced a fair amount of tension, but they also experienced some excitement, and the positive reinforcement group experienced primarily excitement. The dogs were also tested post-training session for their stress levels, and the aversive group and the mixed group experienced significantly higher stress levels than the positive reinforcement group. The positive reinforcement group was very, very low. So these are just a few studies. There's many more that prove that harsh methods are not okay to be using with any animal. And there have yet to be any studies that say otherwise. I also want to remind people that aversive tools is not training. Aversive tools is management. That's it. To train a person or a dog is to learn a new skill. It's a redirection. There's no redirection in using a prong collar or a choke chain. Okay? It's physical force. Even if it doesn't hurt the dog, it upsets the dog, and that's enough for their anxiety to go up. This has been measured not only in cortisol levels, which is a stress hormone, but also in body language by doctors, people with doctorates. Let me make that very clear. Who have studied animal behavior, body language, animals in the wild for years, decades. Not only are aversive dog trainers and balanced dog trainers going off of methods that are outdated, they're also completely invalid. Like the myth of the alpha dog. There's no such thing as an alpha dog in a wild pack of dogs. Rudolf Schenkel, who was, I think that's how you say his name, who published the paper on alpha dogs, made a very, very incredibly flawed study. In doing so, wild dogs, not wolves, because our domestic dogs are actually more related to wild dogs than to wolves. I think a lot of people forget that. So now people will study wild dogs rather than a pack of wolves to compare to domestic dogs. Honest review of a pack of dogs in the wild is more similar to a parent-child relationship. There's not a lot of violence, dominance, anything like that in a group of dogs in the wild. That's just one of the many myths that a lot of outdated methods of training and bad dog trainers nowadays are still using that have been completely debunked and were never true to begin with. Because there's money in making a business training dogs and doing it the easy way, they don't want to change. And obviously, no one wants to admit that they've been wrong. Although in this case, seeing as an animal's welfare and well-being is in compromise with these dog trainers, I think it's the best case scenario to admit that they're wrong. I myself have had clients that have used prong collars in the past, and I have used prong collars. Not to train dogs, but as a dog walker, I have used prong collars with dogs. I didn't like it then, but I didn't know as much as I know now about all of the animal behavior and welfare accommodations that dogs need to have. My personal belief is that anybody can train a dog with a few simple treats and no other tools other than a leash and a harness that are only there for safety. You should be able to train your dog without touching them. That means not even with a remote that is connected to a shock collar. And if you don't have the patience to train a dog appropriately, I suggest not getting a dog, or even better, learn what's actually appropriate to be using with your dog. I know in my area there are a lot of popular dog trainers, and a lot of them are balanced trainers, which is better than aversive trainers. However, they still use a lot like heavy aversives, and it's just upsetting. And it's upsetting to be in an industry that this is allowed to happen, where people care so much about their own satisfaction in having things be simple for them, rather than doing what's best for an animal that they now have in their care. Anyway, this is an upsetting video for me to make. It's very frustrating to try to teach people, and a lot of people who want super fast results don't understand training, don't understand dogs, and it's very frustrating because they think they do. Thanks for watching. I hope this got through to some people. Please, if you do use positive reinforcement methods with your dog, keep it up. And if you don't, this is a chance for you to make that change and switch over. And there's plenty of people who will help you with that and will be more than excited for you to do that. Go out and enjoy dog training, keep it positive, and do the best for your dog, please.